Well, hello, hello. Welcome to another evening of Let's Get Some Math Done by a Crazy Black Woman. Just kidding. All right, welcome on in, everyone. So I was thinking, a couple of my students were actually starting to get into volumes, and I was like, you know what? Some people asked me about volume today and the last session, so I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let's work a little bit of geometry, get a break from systems of equations, and let's see if we can make things crazy. Let's make it happen. Ooh. All right. So, before we can get to volume or surface area, we have to... Oh, I forgot. I got to turn my light off. I forgot. When I come live here, I have to be in the dark. Like I'm under the ground or something. Well, before we can get into volume and to surface area, we really have to make sure we understand area, okay? Area is sometimes perimeters, but we need to understand the basics before we can go any further. So, what we are going to be looking at. So we have an area, and right now this is oops, there we go. All right, so I'm looking at a figure, and you're probably like, oh, Audrey, it's a square. Well, sometimes, and this is one major rule you got to know about geometry. You cannot believe your eyes. You always have to prove things. So they're giving you some information. They're giving you these tick marks. These tick marks means that these sides are the exact same measure. All four of the sides, all of them equal 11 feet. You're also giving me this little boxes. These boxes means 90 degrees. So that means if I add up 90 times 4, I'll get 360. So that means the measure of all the angles inside of this box is equivalent to 360. And each of them is 90 degrees. So if I have the same sides and I have 90 degree angles, okay, this is definitely a square. Okay, so you always have to prove things. You can't just say, well, it looks like a square. Kind of looks like it. Yay, new things. I know, right? All right. So, in order to find the area of a square, it's basically your side. I'm going to put it down here. Area is your side squared. So we know all four of the sides are exactly the same. So my area is going to be 11 squared. Now, 11 squared, that means 11 times 11. So 11 times 11, hey, good, I'm glad you're here. That gives me 121. Now, you never just want to leave your answer just a number. You always have to have the measurement. So since we're looking at feet and we're dealing with area, it's going to be your squared feet. So 121 squared feet, okay? Feet squared, square feet. All right, yes. Okay, if you're doing perimeter, if I may, if I was doing perimeter, that means I'm adding up all the sides. So I know I have 11, that's going 4 times. So if I wanted to do the perimeter, my perimeter is going to be 44 feet. Perimeter just deals with the outside. So that will just be feet. But the area, you are squaring it. Okay, do we see the difference? Okay, area, you always have a square to it. Perimeter is just going to be the units. All right, hello. All right, so now, sliding over. I'll try to shrink it a little bit just in case people are still copying. So now, we have another quadrilateral, okay? This time, I have single tick marks on the sides here and double tick marks up and above. So the single tick marks, they're telling me that these two sides are congruent. All right, that means if this is 3 inches over here, that means this is 3 inches over here. These two tick marks is telling me that these two sides are congruent. So they're saying this side is 9 inches. That means this side is 9 inches. All right, so it's not going to be a square, but it has some parts to it. The only thing that's different, because they all have 90-degree angles, but they have 2 sets of congruent sides as opposed to all 4. So my shape here is going to be what's called a rectangle. And I know for some people, they're like, Audrey, this is really basic. But here's the thing. There are some people that don't really know the terminology. You know how I know this? Because I just had a session. Yeah, I'm traumatized, people. I am so traumatized. How do you square 9 and 3? You don't. Exactly, Tiara. You don't. You can't square 9 and 3. So what the area of a rectangle is not just side squared. This one I can say side times side, which also means side squared. But here I could say side times side, but my thing is I have what's called a length and a width. Okay? Some people also will see it as base times height. Okay? It all depends on who's the teacher and which they prefer. Okay, sometimes the district as well. So you're right, Tiara, you're not going to square it. But what you're going to do is you're going to multiply. Okay, you're going to multiply your base times your height, your length times your width. So that means we are multiplying 9 times 3, which someone already wrote. Who wrote it? Save with Travis. Okay, hashtag save with Travis. Thank you. Was the 27. Okay, but it's not 27 feet. They changed the measure in units. It's probably hard to see. So it's going to be 27 inches or squared inches. Okay, so right now we had 9 inch and 3 inch. Okay, good. Hey, Miss Maisha, how are you? Sir Ricky, thank you for the rose. Welcome. It's good to see you again. All right. Oh, Tracy T, thank you for the follow. Same for Alexis. Zuzu, I love that. It's so exciting. All right. So, are we okay so far? Square is your side squared, because all sides are exactly the same as well as the angles. Rectangle, we have one set of congruent side and another set of congruent side. So you are going to do a side times side, but it's really your base times your height, or your length times your width. Okay? Now, here's my thing about multiplication, and I think this trips a lot of people up, especially length and width. You're multiplying. It really doesn't matter which one you plug in. Okay, sometimes like, oh, which one's the width? Is this the width? Because that's how tall. Wouldn't that be the length? It's multiplication. Just put it in there. Okay. I think base times height may help a lot of people better. Just my little personal thing. All right. So now I'm not going to insult your intelligence. I'm just going to this is a triangle. Okay. We have different forms of triangles. Okay, we have what's called a scaling triangle, when all 3 measures of the sides are completely different. We have an acute triangle, where the angles are less than 90 degrees. We have an obtuse triangle, where you have at least one angle that is more than 90 degrees. And then you have a right angle. Okay, this is a right angle. Anytime you see this little box, that means 90 degrees. Okay, anytime you see it, because we saw it over here, 90, 90, 90, 90. Okay, if you haven't figured it out, all four-sided figures, the angles equal 360. You know why? If we know, we got basically two triangles. Okay, when it's cut into two triangles, a triangle, the measure of the angles of a triangle is 180. And then the measure of a triangle is 180. 180 plus 180, 360. I know, blowing minds. All right, so now with the triangle, since if I wanted to, I could, you can come after me for my drawing. Coming at a weird angle. All right. If I wanted to complete this triangle to make it into a rectangle, okay, we know that the area of a rectangle is your base times your height. But we're not looking at a whole entire rectangle. Instead, erase this, erase this. We're looking at half of a rectangle. So the area of a triangle, once you know what a rectangle is, just divide it by 2. So your area is your base times height divided by 2. Your base is 10. Our height was 15. And we're going to divide this by 2. Okay? If you don't like large numbers, this is one trick that I like to do. See if there's a number up here that you can divide by 2 right from the beginning. So you see how 10 and 2, 10 divided by 2 will give me 5. I can do that. I can change that 10 to a 5, change that 2 to a 1, and now I don't have to worry about saying, oh, 150 divided by 2. Now I can just say 5 multiplied by 15, right? Which gives me, my 75. So the area is going to be 75, and then I take a quick look to see what's the measurement. So the measurement is in yards. Since it's an area, it's going to be square yards. All right. Where the 2 comes from. Okay. So the 2 is basically the formula for a triangle. If you know what the formula of a rectangle is, which is base times height, if I divide that in half, I'm going to get a triangle. I'm going to get a nice right triangle. So the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. It's basically half a rectangle. Oh, is it? I would have just multiplied. Yeah, and you can. You can multiply 10 times 15 and then divide by 2. Sure. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, but I have a question on factoring. Yeah, I'm not doing factoring, Aiden. Sorry. What grade is this? It's geometry. So it could be 7th. Because right now I'm just doing area. I haven't gotten into the volume. But we need to know this before we can get into the other thing. Oh, well, okay. So we really need to get to know the formulas. I'll see if I can do a list. All right. So now, our next shape. We see it almost everywhere we go. Okay, we have a circle. Okay. So with the circle, this is when a lot of people have to realize that we're going to use our lovely symbol name pi. Yes, Julian, good job. All right, so we're using pi. If I'm finding the area is the one that I definitely need the radius. Circumference, which is just the outside, okay, I'm just looking at how big is the outside. I can do it by using diameter or radius. But if I want the area, my area is always going to be, let me put the formula underneath, it's going to be your pi r squared. Okay? Reason why it's squared, we're hitting on the area. Anytime we're dealing with area, we're going to square it. Now, there are some, I don't know, worksheets or whatever will say that pi, yeah, you could just use 3.14. Okay? They might show that on the GED. Okay? Some people, I know for me, I would leave, especially when they get advanced, we leave our answer in terms of pi. Meaning, I don't do anything except for bring the pi along. Okay, so I can give it its true value. But there are going to be times, like on the very top of the paper, use pi 3.14, right? So always take a look at the direction, because sometimes they might say leave in terms of pi. If they mean leave in terms of pi, that means you are not using 3.14. You're just leaving it with the pi inside. Okay? My radius, a radius is from the center of the circle to any point on the circle. So I can make my radius over here. This is going to be 8 inches. Okay? As long as it's from the center of the circle to a point on the circle, you'll get the same radius. We okay? Let me kind of zoom. Ooh, that was crazy. All right, good. Yes, R means radius. Okay, we got a couple answers. R squared is squared. Yes, it's your radius squared. Right in something is half of the 8. Okay, so my radius is 8. Now, they're saying 8 squared. Now, 8 squared is not 16. You are not multiplying this large 8 with this itty bitty 2. Okay? This is telling me that I am multiplying 8 to itself 2 times. That's the whole reason for the exponent. They tell you how many times I got to multiply this base to itself. So they say 2 times. So it's not 8 times 2, it's actually 8 times 8. So if I wanted to leave in terms of pi, someone had it up here already, it would be 64 pi. Because everything up here, the pi and the r squared, is being multiplied to each other. Again, if you don't see a plus or a minus sign, that means you're dealing with multiplication. Okay, good. I love the 64 is up there. All right. So now, this is when we got to whip out the handy dandy calculator or a piece of paper, which, the way my life has been set up today, handy dandy calculator, we're going to have 64 times 3.14. And I think there was a few people, I know Maria has it. Someone said it earlier. Is it Bo? Beautiful? Had the answer as well. Or beautiful? Okay, good. Yes, Maria, I saw the first one. Sorry. All right. So I like to put approximation. That's what the little wave means. So I'm doing the approximation of 200.96. Okay. And then my measurements that we're using is inches. And since it's area, squared. Yes, definitely have to put the inches and make sure we square them. Okay, how are you guys doing? Because if I'm just trucking along and you're like, I'm so lost, let me know. Okay, see a couple hearts. All right. Okay, thank you. All right, cool, good. Okay. All right. All right, good. Thanks, it's me. All right, so let me zoom in a little bit. So now for the next one, again, we have another triangle. And you're like, whoa, didn't we just do a triangle? I'm like, yes. Okay. So this time we're just looking at a triangle in a different way. But the area means exactly the same. Okay. So this will be your base times your height divided by 2. Okay, remember, all triangles, the angle measures of all triangles, regardless if they varies, they always equal 180 degrees. So that's always going to be half a rectangle. Okay, rectangle's 360. 360 divided by 2, bam, 180. So the formula is still the same. Now, 13, in most places they might give you a small amount from here to here. Some of them will give you the whole thing. For this one, this 13 yards is this whole entire base. Okay, so my base is 13. My height is 6. And we're going to divide that by 2. What can I reduce? Yes. There you go, Tiara. Good. Yes, for triangles, it's always going to be base times height divided by 2. All right. So 6 and 2. I learned this yesterday. Oh, my T's preparation. So confusing. Okay. Which part is getting you, Michelle? Because I just saw you. I'm not sure how long you were here for. Okay, which part's confusing? Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So Michelle, when you figure out, just let me know what's confusing so I can make sure I clarify. So 6 and 2. You can multiply the 13 times 6 and then divide by 2. Perfect. Knock yourself out. That's fine. I like to reduce. So 6 and 2, I know they have 2 in common, so that will be a 1. And this will be a 3. So now I have 13 times 3 over 1, which we all know anything over 1 is going to be itself. So we got 13 times 3. So 13 times 3, that gives me 39, right? Then we look to see what my measurements are. It's yards. But since we're finding area, it's going to be square yardage. Okay, good. All right. Does anyone feel like they're being left behind? Okay, be truthful. Why we square it? Because area is basically what's filling. Area is always going to be squared. Okay, perimeter is the only one that does not square. Okay. So, am I leaving you behind, film artist? I just see yes. Okay. Was 3 squared? No. So it's just your base times your height. Your base is 13. your height is 6. So I don't square anything. The only thing that I square, physically square, is going to be my radius for the circle. But my answers are always going to be in square because I'm dealing with area. 2 dimensions. Okay. The triangle one, just trying to figure out the right formula. Okay, so here's my thing. Ready, Michelle? When it comes to the triangle one, the formula is still the same no matter what. Let me see if I can unzoom a bit. The formulas are exactly the same. It's your base times height divided by 2. The only thing that's different is just how the triangle is being presented to you. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So with the triangle one, you have your base, okay, times your height. So your base was 10. Your height was 15. If you want to say, okay, 10 times 15 gives me 150, and then 150 divided by 2 gives me 75, you can do that. You can definitely do that, okay? All right. So film artist, which of the shapes would you like for me to revisit? Okay. So every answer got square behind the yard. Yes. Everything that's dealing with area, yes. It gets a squared. Okay, I understand the triangle. Okay, good. All right. Now the rectangle is just your base times your height. Okay, from the others. Okay. All right. So your rectangle is just your base times your height. So my base was 9 times my height, which is 3. That's where we got 27 inches squared. Then we have a cube. So the little tick marks tells me that all 4 sides are equal to the same exact length, which is 11 feet. So the formula for area is similar to rectangle. It's basically your base times your height. So it's going to be 11 times 11. Or we can say 11 squared or side squared. Okay, so 11 times 11, that's where 121 feet squared. You always put the 2 at the end every time you're doing area. Okay. So how many shapes do we have to know? A lot. But I'm going to try to put it in a way that you only have to remember a certain amount. Okay, I wasn't here for the circle. Can you explain again, please? Sure, and thank you for the please. Okay, that's easy. Yes. Now, for the circle is the only one that is a little bit tinged. Okay, the area is pi r squared. So you've heard of probably pi, 3.14. You know, that day is coming up. Everybody starts eating pie on the 14th of March. All right. So it's to celebrate this symbol. And we all know it's not just 3.14, right? But what you're going to do is you're going to take your radius. Your radius is from the center of the circle to a point on the circle. So that's why I was showing these. No matter what, I have infinitely many of these radii. And they all, once I know the measure of one, I know the measure of all of the radius, okay, or the radii. So that's what I was doing all this marking for. But all you need to know is you're going to take your radius, which is the 8, and you're going to square it. Now, square it means 8 to the second power, or 8 times 8, okay? So if we take that 8 times 8, which gives us our 64, if we wanted to leave our answer in terms of pi, and sometimes it's written, leave your answer in terms of pi. That means they want pi to be inside of your answer. So my answer for that would be 64 pi, because all I had to do is square the 8 and slap on the pi, right? So now, hello Murphy Ship, how are you? So now they wanted us, because it said in the very beginning, when you're using pi, use 3.14. So that means I had to take that 64 and multiply it by 3.14. That's where I got my 200.96. They're looking at inches, so I put inches and squared it. Okay. Okay. King Cash, how are you? All right. Okay. So. All right, so we finished with the triangle. So we're kind of going on a little wraparound real quick. So what do we have here for number 6? Let me zoom in a little bit. For number 6, what is the shape? Okay, good. No problem. Okay. All right. Is it Tisha that said square? Okay, 5 all around. Okay, yay! I always like to respect people's names. Sometimes it'll just take me a minute, because there's sometimes I was like, wait, why? Okay, but I want to respect people's names as best I can. All right, so this is a square. We have our tick marks telling us that all 4 sides are going to be the same equal length, which it is 5. So that means this is going to be 5 feet. This is going to be 5 feet, as well as this side is 5 feet. So since all of my sides are the same and my angles are all 90 degrees, that means we have a square. And the formula for the area of a square, you can use base times height. Or you want to use side square, you can. I'm going to write the word or. So if you haven't noticed, squares, rectangles can be solved by using the base times height formula. So that's just one formula, 2 different shapes. So my area is going to be 5 times 5, which gives me 25. And then we're dealing with area, so it's always your square footage. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'll just tell you that. Just not doing this. Not a problem. Okay. Because if you don't understand the area, you're not going to understand volume. You're not. You're just going to be like, what is all this stuff? Okay. So once you see this, and then I show you a little bit of volume, you're going to be like, oh my God, that totally makes sense now. Okay. So now we're going to the next one. Okay. So again, we have one set of congruent sides. We have another set of congruent sides, as well as 90-degree angles. What's the name of my shape? What's the name of my shape? Okay. Tara says rectangle. Rectangle. Okay. So we all agree with film artist and Tiara? Okay. So Brittany thinks it's 24. 24 what, Brittany? 24 what? That word sounds silly. What, rectangle? Yeah, make sure we get those measures. Let's see, it's 24 yards. Okay. So, Brittany, since it's area, what's supposed to go with that yardage? All right. So, rectangle, remember the area is your base times your height. There you go. All right, so it's your base times your height. So they gave us our base. If you want to do length times width, you can do length times width. It's fine. So if we're saying our base is 2 and our height is 12, 2 times 12, just like Brittany said, was 24. But 24 what? Okay, there you go, film artist. Okay, we got our square yardage, or yards squared. So that means if I ever want to, because a lot of people say, well, how do you do this in real life? Okay, if I want to basically redecorate a room, if I want to put in new carpet, and you want to actually see the measurements yourself, okay, you got this nice room, nice and long, but you want to know, okay, what's the area of that area rug? Huh? All right, so you got your base times your height. You got your calculations, just multiply the two, and you'll figure out what your area is. Ever get a rug that just doesn't fit because we didn't do any kind of measurements? Ever order a refrigerator and you're like, yeah, it'll fit the room perfectly fine. It'll fit the kitchen. But then what happens? We forget to measure the door. Same thing with washers and dryers. We forget that it has to go through the flipping door. And the way I'm so aggressive with that, because that has happened to me a couple of times. Because you're thinking, oh, it'll fit in the space. But it's got to go through the door unless you're one of those people that like to have your refrigerator sitting outside. Some people do that, okay? Properly working refrigerator. Some people do it. We're accounting for the other two. We don't have to, because when we're doing area, not perimeter. If we're doing perimeter, we will add up all the sides. Okay? But when we're doing area, all we need is our base and our height. Okay, sorry. Okay, no problem. Use a real life scenario. I retain for I try. I try. Okay, good. So now we have a circular. You could say a circular rug, We want to see what is the area of this area rug. So we are using the formula. I'm putting it down here. It is your pi, your radius squared. That's always going to be the formula for area of a circle. Okay? Pi times your radius squared. So now that you're seeing a lot of these formulas, you're probably going to start seeing a lot of math structured t-shirts, and you're going to be like, oh, I know what that says. It's like I decoded it. Oh my gosh. So yeah, because I don't even know. I think I have one on to now. Oh, I do. Okay, I'll show you my shirt later. Everybody's like, ooh. Yes. So it has to do with my pi. Okay. Hey, Casey. All right. So they gave us the radius. Remember, a radius is from the center of the circle to a point on the circle. And they said my radius is going to be 1 feet. Okay. So 1 foot. So when I plug it in, okay, I have my 1 is going into my radius. So I have my pi My 1 is going for the radius. And you know, if you square a 1, it's going to be itself, right? So that means it's 1 pi or just pi. But if they want us, which it says at the very beginning, if we see pi, we're going to plug in 3.14. So instead of just leaving it as pi, we're going to say our answer is 3.14, looking at my measurement, which is feet, squared feet. Okay. So it's going to be 3.14. Yep. Okay. So pi is always 3.14. So if it's pi r squared, my radius is 1. 1 squared is 1. This is multiplication, not addition. I think that's what you're thinking. So this is all being multiplied. Pi times radius squared. Okay, so that's why it's not 4.14. It's going to actually be, it's 1 pi, so it'll be 3.14. There you go. Do you do conversions? We don't have to do conversions right now. Are you just saying in general? So are you saying like conversions in general? Oh, dosage? Yeah, I don't do that. But I actually am going to have a meeting with a lady I just discovered who does she does nursing. So if you're thinking about doing nursing, you can what is her name? What is her name? I'm about to have a meeting with her on Monday. A blessed RN. So she does a lot with conversions. So you can check her out. I just put her name in the chat, and it's called A Blessed RN. And she does a lot of breakdowns with anything with nursing, so it'll be real-time stuff, real examples. So if you are thinking about going into nursing, she will be a really great person. Are your lives saved? No. I've decided I'm not going to save my lives. One, they're too long. I tried to save one of my lives, and let me tell you, I'm not sitting here for 6 hours for one, because I do 3 hours sometimes, and I was like, no, we're not doing it anymore. So if you need step-by-step instruction, I do have an online course that you can partake in. So I'm not going to do that. I'll just do clips of the lives and then I'll post them, but I'm not downloading the whole lives. No, I'm sorry. Because it's already too much. All right, no problem. Okay. Yep, the answer is 3.14 feet, squared feet. Don't forget about that part. Hey, Leanne. Okay. Now, the last one. Can I leave you alone with the last one? Okay, I want to see what you guys can do. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yes, make sure you put, let me zoom in so you guys can see the measurements. Okay, make sure you put your measurement, your units in. Okay, so I see a few 16s, which is awesome. Okay. Okay, so always take a double look to see what your measurements are. Because I'm seeing some with feet and some with inches. And then don't forget. All right, good. Nicely done, guys. Very nicely done. All right, nicely done. So we have a square. All four sides are congruent. My angle's 90 degrees. Okay, so that means this is 4 inches. This is 4 inches. This is 4 inches. Okay, so since we're finding the area, you can again do base times height if you want to do that, or whatever one of your side is, you can square it. Either way, it will work, okay? So 4 times 4 gives me the 16, and I bring down my inches squared. Okay. Oh, thank you, Leanne. Just square. A way to remember. A way to remember. A way to remember is actually sitting down and making yourselves flashcards. Okay? So I like to say when you got like a rectangle, I'm just going to write this down while some people are copying. So you got rectangle, squares. They're basically going to be base times height. Triangles. Triangles is 1/2 a rectangle. So it's base times height divided by 2. And then circles, the area is going to be pi r squared. Okay. All right, so I'm going to show this part up. Let's see if I unzoom a little bit. Okay, so write them down. Make flashcards. Okay, even if you like, look, Audrey, money is tight. They're asking like crazy amounts for a flashcard. I get it. I totally get it. So if anything, if you can get copy paper and you fold it numerous times, and then all of a sudden, yep, you can go ahead and take a screenshot. Knock yourself out. Okay? So when it comes down to, you can fold paper, you can fold some paper and make your own index cards. If you want to draw a triangle on the front of the card, you can basically use the information that we have off of this sheet, right? That could be the front part of the card, and then the back part of it will be maybe you working out a problem, okay? No matter what. You can't just be one and done with studying, okay? I had to break this down to a child today. Like, when you study math, it's not like, oh, okay, I just got it. All right, I'm done. I'm a genius. Like, no, you're going to have to do some practice. You're going to have to do some skill set. So there's going to be times you might have to go onto the internet. That's where I got this paper from. I'm not going to lie. That's what teachers do. We borrow. We steal. All right, so I got this from Tutoring Hour. I actually talked to the owners, and they're always like, ooh, I love that. So if you ever need like worksheets, if you're a teacher and you're like, you know what, I kind of like the design of that worksheet. Let me see if I can zoom in so you can kind of see it. So it's called www.tutoringhour.com, okay? He has live worksheets as well as worksheets that you can just print up. So like if you need to download a worksheet and actually have the kid enter in the problem, they can do that. So a little mom and pop shop, you know, really just trying to get themselves and trying to get some teaching resources out there. So if you're a teacher, homeschool parent, you see, I promote everybody. Like, I know people are like, girl, who do you not know? I mean, during the day, I go through meetings. I go through a lot of meetings because I want to get as much resource as I can so I can share that with you guys. Some of you guys are homeschool parents. Some of you guys are tutors. Some of you guys are teachers. Some of you guys are students yourselves that want to get extra practice and not just keep doing the same sheets over and over again, right? And the only way for you to get this information is you got someone like me that gets off my butt and I go and I research for you. This is why I'm exhausted. Can I cover what? No, I don't even know what that is. So I'm not even gonna sit here and try to love that. There's so much. Good. Then I put the question on the other card. I missed the beginning. I have to see the beginning of this. Flashcards, I actually take old package boxes, cut them up, and put the definition on one card. Yes, YouTube are too long. This is new and improved. Then I put the question on the other card. Yes. Okay. Oh, Alexis. All right. Okay. So that's area. Okay. You need, and this is not even like all the shapes, but this will help you with the next part. And then I might be calling tonight a quick thing. Not because I'm tired. It's just been a really draining day. Really draining. Like every kid, I felt like I had to pull everything out of them. So I'm exhausted. Not every kid. My first kid was all cool. Anyway, enough of me ranting. Now, we are going from 2-dimensional to now 3-dimensional. Okay? And you're probably like, oh dear God, hold on. Before you lose your blessed minds. Okay? It's going to be okay. Now, keep the information that you got from the areas around. Okay? And this is why I have this lovely page in my math notebook. Okay? So it gives you like the whole listing, and I'm looking at this part. So there's some of you guys that have the book. I'm looking at this part right here with the volume. Okay? So it gives you like the formulas for the volume. We'll worry about the surface area probably tomorrow. But for tonight, or not tomorrow, next time. But for tonight, I'm going to really hit on volume because a lot of the students are going through volume right now. Okay? It's okay. It's okay. All right. So, example of the triangle, please. What do you mean, the area of a triangle? Okay. Do you mean the area of a triangle? Okay. So we have all right, I'm just gonna do this. Let's say this is, I haven't used 6 in a while. So say like that's 6 inches. And then this is, let's say 9 inches. Okay. Now, I want to know the area. How much is going to fill inside of that triangle. So if I were to complete this drawing and make it into a box, I basically have a rectangle, right? This side will be congruent with this side. This side would be congruent with this side. The area of a rectangle is base times height. But we're not talking about the whole rectangle. We're talking about part of it. In fact, we're talking about half of it. So you got your area of the base. All you have to do is your base times height. All you have to do is just divide by 2. Okay. So in this case, my base is 6 times my height, which is 9. And then I'm going to divide by 2. Okay. Yes, 1/2 the base times height. So some people, it helps them when they understand, like, oh, it's half of a rectangle. Okay. So now, if you want, you can multiply 6 and 9 together. Then you divide by 2. Or you can do what's called simplify. Because I see 6 and 2. 6 divided by 2 will give me 3. And then I can multiply the 3 and the 9 to get my area of 27. Either way, you should have gotten 27 inches squared, or squared inches. Okay, you're welcome. Okay. All right. So keep in mind the different areas. Okay? Keep in mind the areas. So now we're going into volume. So the formula for volume. So the formula for volume, this is called a cylinder. We have a lot of cylinders or cylinder-inspired objects everywhere. Okay? Well, if I really wanted to, it could be anything that rolls, like my highlighter. That's considered a cylinder. Okay? My chapstick, that's a cylinder. Okay? I need to put some on right now because I'm talking too much. Get in check. Okay? All right? A lot of people love these delicious air fresheners, okay, that we get from Bath and Body. We all know we're addicted. Yep, we need therapy, okay? But it's inspired. It has another, so it basically has, even the tap is a cylinder. Whoa, okay? Even the top is a cylinder. And this will kind of help us, because if I want to know how much I can fill in, that's volume. Okay, how much it can be filled in. Yes, a can of soda, that's a cylinder. Okay, so you're going to start seeing cylinders, candles. Okay, I have a couple candles on the other side of the room. Okay, they're cylinders. So if you notice, I'm going to take this top for a second. Oh, thank you. So if you notice, what's the shape of this very top? What's the shape? Just this part. Yeah, we got a circle, right? So we got basically 2 circles here. But when we're trying to worry about how much to fill in, okay, we only need one of the bases. If I was looking at what's called surface area, that means if I was looking at how to make this and what type, not really what type of metal, but how much metal I'm going to need to make this in order to fit on top of that lovely spray, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about how much do I need to fill in. Ugh, I hate when it does this. I feel like I haven't been on here that long. Okay. Sorry, we had to do the thingy. Okay. So if we look at it almost from the side, the way that we get the cylinder, here's the formula. Ready? It's going to blow your mind. So the volume is your pi r squared times h. Huh. Pi r squared times h. That's how you find the volume of a cylinder. I still put it in the same spot. What's it sound? What's the familiarity? What's familiar? Based on what we just worked on. What's familiar? Okay, what's familiar? Okay, you know that's not diameter. R squared is not diameter. 2 times the R is diameter. Okay, look right here. If you're not sure, you can always use question mark. Does this sound familiar? Right here? See if I can zoom in. Whoa, okay. Went a little crazy with the zoom. Doesn't this sound familiar? Yes, the area of a circle. Okay? So the area of the circle is in that formula. Some people write it like this. I don't know why they use a capital B, but here they are. They say the area of your base times your height. My base is a circle. Okay? My base right down here is a circle. Regardless if I'm using this or I'm using this. Okay? Those are my bases. I have 2 of them. But when we're trying to find volume, all we need is the area of our base and then times the height of my cylinder. Okay? So R squared is basically we are squaring our radius. So let's plug it in. Let's plug it in. So we have our pi, our radius squared times the height. Now, based on what we're looking at, is this a radius? Yes or no? My 13 millimeters, is that a radius? I got a couple no's, I got a yes, I got a diameter. Okay, halfway is your radius. Good. So they're giving me what's called a diameter. So a diameter, it goes to one end of the circle to the other end of the circle, and it goes through the center of the circle. Okay, so diameters are chords that goes through the center of the circle. But we don't want the diameter. We don't want the whole thing. We want half. Half is the radius. So what's half of 13? Yes, NS. So half of 13. Okay, there we go. I saw some 7.5s. Yes, some 6.5, 6.5, 6.5. Yes. So that 6.5 is what's going in for the R. Okay, that's what's going inside for the radius of your formula. Now, what's the height of my cylinder? What's the height of my cylinder? There we go. 8 millimeters, 8 millimeters, 8. Good. So the height of my cylinder over here is going to be 8 millimeters. So for the gracious of time, I want to keep it in terms of pi. Okay? So this means I need to multiply 6.5. So I got my pi. That means I'm going to multiply 6.5 times 6.5 times 8. That's what this is saying. Okay? If you leave it in terms of pi, what do you get? So something pi. What will be that number? Okay. Le couch. Perfect. Love it. Okay. Good. Film artist. Good. Right? Good. Jose, love it. Welcome in, Jose. I don't know how long you've been here, but I feel like I just saw you. Okay? So, yes. So, all we do is multiply 6.5 times 6.5 times 8, and that will give us 338 pi. If they ever say leave in terms of pi, that's what they mean. They mean don't give me that 3.14 stuff. We want the whole value of pi, the whole representation. Now, if they say, and I'm going to say or, if they do ask for the decimal, that means you're going to multiply 3.14, then your 6.5, I'm going to write 6.5 squared because we know it's 6.5, 6.5. So basically, take your answer of 338, right? Because we did that all right here, and multiply it by 3.14. Okay. So sometimes you don't, sometimes you do. And that's why I'm teaching it both ways, because some tests, they'll say leave it in terms of pi. Some tests will say give me my decimal. Okay. All right, good. So 1,061 and 32 hundredths. And what are we doing? Millimeters. Now, here's the thing. Ready? How would they ask? You'll just see it in the question. They'll just literally say leave in terms of pi or use 3.14. Okay. Can you use 22/7? Yes, you can. You can use that. All right. So, is pi always 3.14? It depends on the situation. Most exams will use it 3.14. Most exams will say keep it in terms of pi. Some people can use 22/7. I know, that's the one thing that's very sketchy. It all depends on what the test present. All right, good. Now, here's the thing. Remember we were doing area? And we kept saying it's like squared feet, squared yards. But now we're doing volume, okay? Volume is that three-dimensional figure. What do you think I'm going to use? Oh, Tootie-loo. I love that. Yes, it is going to be to the third power. It's going to be cubed. Okay, remember, it's going to basically be my three-dimensional figure. Okay, gotta hit all that. So when you're looking at volume, and this is another thing you can look for, especially if you're doing multiple choice tests, if they say the volume, look at your answers. If all the answers except for one says to the second power, and there is only one that says cube, that's your answer. Move on. Like seriously, if they ask for the volume, you don't have to sit there. They're not going to give you extra points because you sat there and calculated. They just want their answer. Okay. All right. Okay. So for number 2, we have another cylinder. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave the one that we just did as a model. I want you to tell me what my volume is for number 2. Volume's always cubed. Yes. Okay. I'm going to leave the first one up for you to view. Okay. That's a good question. Yeah. You can do my 3.14. That'll be fine. Thank you. Okay. All right, so I see the ones in terms of pi, which is nice. What would it be if we used the decimal 3.14 as well? All right. Nicely done, guys. Very nicely done. Okay, I am loving what I am seeing. Love that. Cubed, I forgot. Okay, look at this. So, since we have a cylinder, my base is a circle, so the volume, let me move it over. So the volume is the area of my base, which is pi r squared, times the height of my cylinder. Excuse me. So now, if we leave it in terms of pi, we notice that 5 is my diameter. I need half of 5. That's where your 2.5 came from. And it's being squared. Times the height of your cylinder, which is a 7. Okay, so once you found this is going to be pi times 2.15 times 2.5. Oh, sorry, I said 1.5. Yeah, you can tell I'm delusional. 2.5 times 2.5 times 7. All right. So if you multiplied those 3, you should have gotten 43 and 75 hundredths pi. Okay. So if they say leave in terms of pi, that's what you do. Okay. Or we can take that answer and we of 43.75 and multiply it by 3.14, and we get 137.375. Okay. Yes, I love when people catch me. Feet, cubic feet. Yes. AWESOME. Awesome, awesome, awesome are we. Yes. Bring back my old cheerleading days. Yeah, I never was a cheerleader. There's nothing wrong with it. Hell, I mean, no. Flinging me up in there. What? Me catch? No. No, ma'am. We do not round up. We can. We can round up, Kelly. That's perfectly fine. Now, that's another thing. It will also, like if you're ever taking any of those exams, some people will just say round to the nearest hundreds. They'll say round to the nearest thousands, round to the nearest tenths, round to the nearest whole number. Okay? So, again, that's going back to the direction. And then plus, take a look at your answer choices. Remember, if you're taking any of those exams, they just care about which one you're circling. All right? All right. Now, there's one more that I want to do, and then I'm going to pause on all this. And I know there's other volumes, but I can continue on with that for the next time we come on. But the other one I want you to see is down here. Because everyone's like worrying, there's so many formulas I got to remember. This is crazy. Well, let me show you. Remember the little thing that I showed you with rectangles and squares? It's basically base times height, right? What is this shape? What is this shape? Yes, Leanne, good. Okay, the bottom part is a circle. But since we have that pointed part, this is called a cone. Curvy. This is called a cone. Now, most of you guys picked up a little bit probably what I'm about to say, which is nice. So we notice that the base is a circle, just like a cylinder. Notice it has a height, similar to a cylinder, but it's more inside. So if I wanted to, I could continue on just like how I did with the triangle. I could bring these up, these sides up. And if I wanted to, I could create a cylinder. But let's take a look. I have something over here and something over here. So basically my cone is a third of a cylinder. So how would the volume stack out? Well, the area of my base, which is my pi r squared, okay, times the height, all right, that brings in the cylinder. But now let's make it into a cone by dividing by 3. Okay. All right, so divide the length. Why we would divide it by 3? Because take a look. We got 1, 2, 3. We got 3 sections, and we're only covering 1 out of the 3. If I really wanted to show the volume, I could show it like this. 1/3 times pi r squared times the height. This and this means exactly the same thing. Okay? All right? So that's why you're dividing basically your volume of a cylinder by 3, because it's taking up 1 out of the 1, 2, 3 spots in a cylinder. Okay? It does have a base. It's the circle down here. Yep, it does have a base. Okay. All right. Okay. So now let's solve this. I want to say the 2 centimeters is probably the whole thing. That's my assumption. But if we said my 2 centimeters, so that means we have my pi times my radius, which will be 1. Because let's say that whole thing is 2. Let's just say that. So if this whole thing is 2, that means we only want the radius. So 2 divided by 2 will give me my 1. That's how we got that 1. The height is 2. All right. If I wanted to, I'm going to clean this up a little bit because it's going to be divided by 3. So there's no quick, easy division, but it gives me 1 squared, which is 1. 1 times 2 gives me 2. So we have 2 pi cubed. Okay. All right. How are we feeling? Hey, Tamika. How are we feeling? All right. All right. So you can leave it in terms of pi, but if they say we want the put in 3.14, that means it's just going to be 2 times 3.14 divided by 3. Okay? If you want to solve it that way, if we are keeping in terms of pi, that means we have my cubic centimeters because we're dealing with volume. All right. Yes. Got a couple people. Okay. So volume is always cubed. Yes, Kelly. Yes, yes, yes. Oops. Thank you. Okay. So really want you to kind of get cylinder, and you're going to be looking at so many things. You're like, oh, that's a cylinder. That's a cylinder. She was right. There's like cylinders everywhere. Like you're going to see some stuff. You're like, oh my gosh, that's a cylinder. That's a cylinder. So that means it's been a long time since I mathed. Yes, no problem. Okay. Now, when it comes to trying to memorize, if we try to think of it, okay, we know cylinder. We know it has a base that's a circle, and then you have to multiply that by the height. So if I know the area of the circle, just multiply by h, your height. For a cone is basically 1/3 the measure of a cylinder. So you get your cylinder and you just divide it by 3. All right? That's it. Okay? Questions? Thought-provoking comments? Easy if I can remember. And you will. You will. Because once you make it a priority, I guess I can say like that, especially if you're going to be taking a test, like make your flashcards. Okay, make your flashcards. Trust me, it's going to be probably like the easiest thing that you can do. And then once you learn it, it's kind of still in your brain. It may not be as vivid, but the color's still there. Okay. Yay! Love to see that. Love to see that. I love that. Yes. So you can help. And if you guys ever get stuck, okay, I'm starting to get a few of you asking for tutoring services, which is amazing. All right. I love the fact that I'm seeing a lot of adults going back to school. And hey, I understand it's a handful. And I'm loving that. And I'm so proud of you for doing that. And on top of it, just the fact that if you ever get to the point that you're just like, I need a tutor, even if you're like, I only do 7th through adults, even if you have like a younger child and you're just like, I need a tutor, but I don't know where to go, please DM me, because I have friends that are awesome tutors. I tried to only surround myself with good people and really caring people. So if you ever get stuck, don't say, oh, well, Audrey doesn't really do that. But Audrey knows people, because Audrey constantly, I love speaking about myself in the third person. Not crazy at all. But I know I spend most of my mornings getting in touch with other tutors, other teachers, other educational creators, and really like picking their brain and trying to see how I can bring things to you guys that you can carry on. Like if you're thinking about doing chemistry, not organic chemistry, regular chemistry, Professor TK, she's amazing. If you want to do a little bit more with the ASVAB, more so with the word problems, I know my friend Evelyn, who is called Impact Math 19, she does great stuff. She goes on at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which is 1 o'clock Central Time. And she breaks concepts down similar to me, really similar, and even with her own splash to it. And then I'm going to learn a little bit more if a lot of people are thinking about going to nursing. So I'm really trying to talk to this lady, a blessed RN. We actually have a meeting on Saturday just to see like who she is and if I should be sending, clientele to her. I don't like to send people around blindly. All right. That's definitely something I don't like to do. I like to get to know people before I can like recommend them. So, okay, my daughter's in 5th and doing the inverted equations. Yes, it's so hard, and that's what I need to. So the inverted equations, so what do you mean, like, if I may flip this over, I think. Oops. Yeah, I can use this paper. So what do you mean, like, x plus 5 equals 7? Okay. That's what I'm trying to do. I have to do a test to get into nursing. Yes, the math is what's getting me. True. Okay. All right. Yeah, as long after I meet with her on Saturday just to try to get a feel, I think she's a really cool person. I saw a couple of her lives. I saw one today and one yesterday, and I was like, actually kind of like her. But let me pick her brain a little bit before I really put it out there. But I didn't know that these were out there. A lot of you guys say T's, and I looked at the T's exam, and I can help with that. But there are some other people that specialize in getting you ready for the T exam. So once I get those people, I'll pass them on. So, but with decimals and fractions in it. Okay. Even with decimals and fractions in it, no matter what, I'm really reaching here because I have no idea. you're always doing the opposite. So you need to keep this in mind. So the inverse of addition is subtraction. The inverse of subtraction is addition. Just as the inverse of multiplication is division. Okay, the inverse of division is multiplication. Not gonna do that one. Okay, if you can get these inverses down, the opposite of addition is subtraction and vice versa. The opposite of multiplication is division. Okay, the opposite of division is multiplication. If you can get that down, so hard. I need to retake my, okay, I'm scared. Why? Learn the formulas for math. Okay, so here's the thing. When you're taking these exams, this is just me being real. When you're taking these exams, you can't memorize all the formulas. Like, you can't. You're going to flake, you're going to blank out, and then you're going to be like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, okay? So it's almost like you have to do the process of elimination. So if they give you, let's say, an equation that says y equals 2x plus 5, y equals negative, it's a negative 1/2. Just reaching here. So negative 1/2 x, y is negative 3/2 x plus 5. And then the last one is y equals negative 1/2 x plus 12. I know that 12 looks a little crazy. You can tell I'm getting to the end of the night. My twos are looking all kinds of crazy. Okay. What if there was a y with the 5? Oh, okay. So an XY type thing. So you're solving. Okay, I can see what you're talking about. So like if you had 2x plus 5y is equal to 12. Let's just put that out there, right? Okay. So with something like this, you need to solve for y. So this is you and your boo. You and your boo is staying right here. VIP suite. Okay. Here comes a little tribe that's trying to break it up. What you got to do is subtract them out your life. So when you do that, you have your 5y is equal to negative 2x plus 12. If you want to say 12 minus 2x, that means exactly the same. Don't let that teacher tell you anything different. Okay? Now, you have y. You want to be by yourself. Your boo is annoying, acting up, flirting with everybody. We don't do that. So we need to divide them out of your life. So now the 5 and the 5s will cancel out, leaving me with y. And then I have my negative 2/5 x plus 12 fifths. Okay. Does that look familiar, Leanne? Do you have a trick for memorizing those? It's going to be practice. It's not even going to be a trick. It's going to be practice and process elimination. So as I was saying for this one, As I was saying for this one, if they gave me a slope that looks something like this, and they say match the equation, well, my line from left to right is going up. So anything with a negative slope is done. That would be my answer. And I didn't have to do any calculations. So sometimes, yes. So this one that I just did, this is complete. Sorry. Oh, that would be complete. Okay. All right. Yeah. No, we're divided. Yes. Sometimes you gotta divide that negativity out your life. Tired. Can you recommend anyone for a teacher test? I do not know of anyone off the top of my head. I know they're not on TikTok, but I will look. I will keep a lookout. Because I think you asked me about this once before, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Oh, thank you. How do you solve a quadratic formula equation that wants you to find the zeros? What do you mean that wants you to find the zeros? You can just factor it. So when you do your quadratic formula, you are finding your zeros. No, not you? Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll take a look to see if there is anybody. If anything, if you want to go to my profile and go to my website, and if you want to fill in the contact information or just DM me, one of the two. This is for It's Not Just Me. So let me see if I can take a look at what exactly New York is offering, because sometimes states to states, it'll be completely different. I hate to say it, but it is. So if you want me to take a look at some of the stuff that you're working on, I'm more than willing to do that. Okay. Yeah, just message me and then we'll figure out a date and time for us to chat. And then roughly when are you thinking about taking your test? Of course, Leanne. Yeah. Yeah, the way that I do my tutoring sessions, I know there's like two different definitions of what tutoring is. Some people have like a whole program, and I'm just like, dude, that's not tutoring. Like, you're teaching. Just say you're running a program and you're teaching. But tutoring is like, all right, I'm taking what the teacher is talking about, what you're learning on your homeschool, and I'm here to clarify how you can break all these things down. So that's what I do. So yeah, Leanne, like if you ever book a session with me, go ahead. And then you share with me what you're working on, and then we'll work on that. Within 3 months from now? Okay, all right, perfect. That's a good amount of time. Because some people will be like, yeah, I'm going to take it next week. So, what? And you're struggling with adding and subtracting integers? What? Okay, this is going to be fun. Cool runnings. Yeah, so go ahead, message me because that one that helps me to remember who, and then we'll just take it from there to see about stuff. Not a problem. All right. Any other questions? I know this is going to be really sheepish of me, but can we make it to 10K? I know, that's really big. That's really bad. I would appreciate it for the likes. I don't know. Like sometimes I feel like, okay, this is just me. I want to keep doing these, but I know sometimes it takes a lot to prep. So I was even thinking about putting a poll together and say, would it be horrible of me to have like a donor's choice? Or should I just be like, just cut my hours of doing this? And I think the only people that can answer that question is going to be you guys. So I think I might, I'm trying to think. Because I really enjoy coming in here and breaking things down. And I also love, like, if it's a name that I haven't seen in a while and just say it. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I like when someone that's have a live, they just recognize you. Oh, no problem, Kelly. Yes. And it really is not so much cockiness, but just going there and being confident. Just be like, screw it. I'm just going to do what I can do. A lot of you guys add so much stress on yourselves when you take these exams that you're like, I just want to score really high for the first time. You may or may not. Like the fact that you're sitting there taking a test on some stuff that you haven't seen since you were in high school or you were whatever, and the fact that you're sitting there trying to understand it. Look, just take your time and just be the badasses that you are and just make that test your itch. you know? Just do it. Just do it. Wait, I don't know if I can say that or not, but here we are. All right. Oh, thank you. I appreciate all this. Okay. That is fabulous. And I still have to figure out what the heart thing means. I have no idea. Okay, was in the 19... Exactly. Same here. 94, baby. And some of these kids weren't even a thought. They weren't even like, what? Yeah, I'm like, yeah, this is a cassette tape. No? Okay. This is a cord phone. We don't have cordless. You were considered rich. Or if you had the VHS with a really long cord, so I used to record the fights for my father on the weekends. Oh my gosh. That's all I did. Recorded fights so he can watch them later on. Those were the days. When children were supposed to be seen, not heard. Oh my goodness. Still going to therapy for it. All right, ladies. Demand, how are you? Yes, roll. Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Remember we used to go to the library if we wanted to find information, or maybe go to that friend's house, had the really nice Botanica encyclopedias, and we would go over there. Or we had the World Book. I liked the World Book better, but we had the World Book, and but we had to go through the catalogs to try to find books. They don't know. These kids don't know. Oh, give her all your money. Oh, thank you, the man. Hope you're doing all right tonight. I was like, I just try. I try my best. That's all I got to do. I had one of my friends thought I was rich, right? I know. And now it's like every time you go to any kind of consignment shop or Savers or any of the bookstores, you see tons of the Botanicas. Because a lot of the people are just like, we don't need any more of these books. My gosh. That or the National Geographic. My parents were really into those. They're probably somewhere in my house because I think they snuck it in. My parents are hilarious. Oh my goodness. I still have mine, right? So, a little bit of nostalgia, but yes. All right. Yes, National Geographic was the best. I used to read them. I actually had a former student who is a photographer for them. She was one of their junior photographers. When did I have her? I think she was back in 2008. And I remembered she wanted to go into dentistry. And I just said, but what's that? And she's like, oh, it's my portfolio. I'm like, let me take a look at it. I'm like, girl, hit National Geographic. This is awesome. And she's like, well, there's a junior program. And I just said, well, let's fill it out. And we sat down during one class. I had the kids do an activity, and we sat down and filled out her application. She was able to get the junior photographer position. And now she's doing it. She's traveling, loving photography, loving life. It's awesome. Yeah, that's all I want. I know. It seems like as we get older, it just seems like I gravitate more to the nature channel. Like I used to when like PBS was like my thing when I was growing up. Like that's how I learned how to cook and that's how you learn things. But now it's like National Geographic and sometimes what is it, the BBC, kind of watch this stuff like that. Yeah. Really dating ourselves. Well, I'm 52 soon. Well, I can't say soon to be 53, but September will be here before we flippin' know it. Isn't that crazy? Oh, wait. When is daylight savings time? Do we have a couple more weeks left? Then we lose an hour of sleep. Are you ready for that? I'm not. Not at all. All right. So, bum. Yes. Oh, hey. Oh, March 25th. Real close. Okay. April. Yes. All right. Nice. So let's wrap up. I love this. I love meeting people. Maybe one day I might just come on live just to be social instead of doing math, but I don't know. People would be like, where's the math? They'd be so confused. But that's the one thing I really wanted you guys to understand. So when we are looking, oh, where did the other paper go? Okay. Once you get to know, nope, never done with it, Savage. Never done with it. Especially, heck, that's everything. Everything has to do with geometry. Everything. So once you get the idea about the area, okay, once you get the areas down, you see why it makes sense for the volume. Even though we just did cylinder, okay, but eventually, which I think the next time at 8:30 session will be on Monday, we're going to talk a little bit more about the prisms, okay, and we're going to talk a little bit about the pyramids so we can learn to understand the volumes of that. And if we do have time, we'll talk about the surface area. All right, so you get all that situated. All right, well, my lovelies, it has been real. Again, if you do need assistance with a tutor, just go ahead and drop a message. Just DM me. Or if you're just like, yeah, I'm ready to do tutoring with you, you can go to my profile, click on my picture, and what is it? Go to my like, what am I doing? Go to my website and just fill out the contact form. Okay, that'll be so much easier for me so I can keep up with everything and make sure I contact you. I will try my darndest to contact you as soon as possible because I know a lot of you guys want to get stuff done here and now. That's one. If you are just like, you know what, Audrey, I don't know what my schedule is going to be like. Like I'm a nurse. I'm like a stay-at-home mom. We got all this stuff, the kids' schedule, my schedule. I just don't know when I can. Well, I do have online courses that is designed for the GED, the Accuplacer, the ASVAT, that I'm actually running a sale on that for $57 monthly membership. So this is how the membership's going to go. I'm going to do it real quick, and then we're done. So with the membership, you have, just give me a month was all I asked. Okay. So say that you're like, trying to pass an exam and you did it for set it up for 3 months and you got it done early. Okay. I'm not going to charge you for the third month. Okay. I'm just going to charge you for the 2 months that you used it. Why pay for a whole month that you're not doing anything with? You already passed. You already achieved what you wanted to do. You're moving on. But it is on demand. You can watch videos, and it's all me showing you, just like how I do here, step by step, how to solve problems. Okay, how to solve the problems, how to get to situations. You do get practice problems. You do get some quizzes on there. There is an exit ticket at the end of every video. In order for you to see how well you did, you have to watch the beginning of the next video. So as soon as I get started, I show you the exit ticket and I show you the results. So I don't have you waiting that long. And again, that's $57. It's 107 instructional videos. Each video has practice problems and the answer key. And then this is what I will do. If you get stuck on a problem, you can send me a text message and I can go live with that problem on one of our lives. So like I can take the beginning and just say, hey, I just did this is a problem, and I'm breaking it down how I would solve it on the live. And then you can ask questions and everything, and everybody else will get to learn how to do certain things. All right. So if that sounds intriguing, just message me. Just message me so we can have a nice little chit chat and then take you into the right part. All right. Okay. Yes. Exit tickets. I used to do entry tickets. It used to drive my principal crazy because she's like, all these kids are in the hallway. They should be inside the classroom. I'm like, they need to be math-minded before they walk into my classroom. So they can work with each other. They can work individually. It was up to them. But in order for them to go into the classroom, they had to pass the entry. They had to have the right ticket. You know. Yes, not a problem. All right, here we go. I'm wrapping up. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much for the likes. I greatly appreciate that. All right, so have an amazing day. I will be here at 1 p.m. tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time. So I will not be available at 8:30 because I do have some tutoring. But the 8:30 session will come back on Monday. All right, but I will be here tomorrow afternoon, and we're going to be working a little bit more with absolute values, but we're looking at absolute values inequalities. Ooh, it's going to be fun. All right. All right, have a lovely night, everyone. Take care. Bye now.